Okay, so go ahead.
All right. Well, hello, family. I'm Shannon May, founder of Self Made, Meditate, Align, Enlighten, and Discover, where we host wellness retreats for Black and Brown women so we can come together and grow, heal, and discover parts of ourselves together. And today I am bringing into our family Miss Kenya, who's a numerologist, outdoor guide, entrepreneur. She just everything. She's bomb. Just know that. And we've been working together for a while. She's been like my numerologist. I feel like I can say that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Okay. And she's really been a part of my spiritual journey, exploring parts of myself and seeing how that shows up in my life. And now in this new way, well, I'll take a step back and partnering to make sure the energies of the retreats that we're hosting match and align with the theme and aid to our personal discoveries and explorations. So there's that. And now we're coming together in a new way to explore my grandmother's dates. So up to this point, you may have heard about my genealogy research. So I asked Kenya to hook me up so I can learn a little bit more about my grandmother and her spiritual journey coming over to America. So there he is. So drop the knowledge on us. Tell us everything about you, your business, how folks can get in touch with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm thank you so much for that really lovely intro. I'm Kenya. I am a certified numerologist and spiritual coach. I use numerology and spiritual knowledge to help like people to have a higher and deeper knowledge of themselves. And I'm on Instagram at Consult Kenya. I am on the internet at kenyajackson.com. And also word of mouth, which is kind of my preference, is the people working who know people who know people who know me. But I want to get into this because I had such a good time doing this. I had a lot of fun, and I think that it's going to be really cool for you. I actually told other people about this reading because it was so cool when I did it. So I'm super excited about it. And so I'm going to share my screen here. And so let me ask what the request was. So the request that you made of me is that your grandmother traveled from Panama to Philadelphia during a certain period of time during let me get my dates right here. It looks like from August 16th to August 22nd that she came from Panama to Philadelphia, and you're going to be traveling from New York to Panama during those same dates. And so you kind of wanted to see like what the synergy was of those dates and what the significance of those dates were. And it's so freaking cool. Okay, so let me I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah. And while you doing that, I just want everybody to know this is my first time hearing this information. So
yeah.
we're literally on this journey together to learn all of this. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like for real.
It's really a lot of fun. So let me see, I'll make this big. So I did say here, I did like a bit of an intro here, and I said I did the beginning and ending dates of you and your grandmother's travel because those will be the most relevant. And I also ran some of her individual numbers because that's what's going to give me insight into her and what her motivations may have been. And then I did those same numbers for you. I had already done your numerology report, so I just pulled those numbers back for you. So it was very cool. So the first thing I did was kind of run some numbers about your grandmother. So this was her name, her date of birth, and I did her zodiac sign because that's also important to me. And we got that, okay, she was an Aries, born April 4th, 1925. And so your grandmother, so the reason why I want to do this is because I wanted to see what the life path of your grandmother was and also what pinnacle she was in. So which season of her life that she was in when she did this. Because when I saw the dates of her travel in 1945, I realized that she was super young. And I was like, gosh, she was really young to be doing something like that. What would have prompted her to want to make such a big trip during that time? Did you know her? May I ask?
I did. Yeah, my grandmother passed away when I was a senior in high school, so I had some time with her.
Oh, okay, good. So then that way you'll be able to tell me if any of this stuff is spot on or not. So what I found from your grandmom is that she is a life path 7, and 7 It's often considered to be a holy and divine number, and that's because there's so much introspective and intuition involved with the number seven. Seven people's primary kind of like goal and focus is like how to be a better person and how to be it's like personal development here. So you'll see they tend to be intellectual, analytical thinkers, great understanding of the spiritual self, and they're drawn to mysteries of the world. So, seven energy is always like they're spiritual people. They might be into the occult. And when we say the occult, we might mean things like tarot cards or astrology, astronomy. Like they're always like trying to understand themselves and the universe and how those things fit together. And also really independent, right? And sometimes solitary. So if you look at the way the number seven looks, the number seven has got that, it looks like the number one a little bit, right? But it's got the really, really long kind of forehead. And that's to demonstrate that intellect and being like very heavy and very into their head. So seven can be a very solitary number for that reason as well. Like kind of keeping to themselves, loves people, but just is always like, okay, what's the deeper meaning of love and life and the world? And there's also some wisdom here, which makes sense about why she was traveling so young. Now she does have a karmic debt attached with her life path number, which is 16. And that's just the way the numbers are organized to make a certain number also sometimes will have impact on them. And so karmic debt has to do with like using self-esteem and self-worth and also spiritual awareness. So when you see this, what it means is people who are 16/7 will tie their personal worth and their self-esteem to what they're willing to learn and how good they are at like figuring things out, if that makes sense. But here's what's really cool. It says this cleansing and revival of this new way of coming into life can be a humbling experience and has far-reaching influences throughout your life, right? So it says, don't look down on people, don't belittle them, and don't isolate and alienate yourself. However, with intuition and intellect, you can achieve great spiritual wisdom and understanding and gain much peace and internal contentment. And I'm so excited about it. So looking at all that, in addition to the pinnacles that she was in, so we have this life path number that's like introspection, right? We have this karmic debt number that's like, okay, I may be dealing with some self-esteem challenges, kind of not trusting my self-worth. But I really think this might have had to do with if she felt comfortable where she was and if she felt like an outsider. Like something in me says that she felt like she didn't fit in the environment that she was in, which would cause her to travel so young and so far. Now she was also in a pinnacle 8 when she traveled. Her first pinnacle is 8, and that was going to last for her first 29 years of life. And 8 is all about commercial and business activity, right? It's all about money, it's all about opportunity. And it also talks about she might be a practical thinker at a very young age. And so I was wondering if there was some sort of opportunity that she felt was here in the United States. It could have been a financial opportunity, it could have been a business venture, or it could have been like, okay, there's something there that I need to go see and do because it's going to help me with my personal development.
Wow. So should I say something?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So we know very little of my grandmother's family and some of the history, but we do know that she came over here with a Navy sailor with the idea to work for them as the help. And that's what she did when she got here.
Yeah.
Yep. So wow. I got like goosebumps.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. So there was definitely an opportunity here about why she wanted to come. That's perfect. And wait till you see when I show you the date. She also has a challenge number 0 here. And what that usually means is challenge number 0 is called our cipher number. And so it's like everything and nothing can be going on, right? Everything, nothing can be going on when you have a number 0. So either a situation where she felt like she had to escape something. I get escape energy from this because she was so young and because it was so long ago. A 20-year-old woman traveling, and she was with someone, which makes sense, but to make such a huge move at a very young time, I get like there was definitely opportunity, and also that maybe I don't feel comfortable where I'm at, and I think I need to be someplace else that's going to give me a better life for myself. So when you look at her dates, you look at, I did the beginning and the end. I did all the numbers, but the beginning and the end is where you get the most information here. And you see that in 1945, when she traveled, this was 7 again. So it's the curiosity, the introspection again. So it's almost like I am leaving a place out of curiosity. I'm leaving this place for the purpose of introspection, learning about myself, digging deep into who I am. And then you'll notice that on the 22nd, 1945, that last day, this is building, teaching, order, and balance. So there was a lesson that was extracted while she was here. There was something that she gained, and there was something that helped to shape the rest of her life. While she was in Philadelphia, there was definitely some shaping thing, and you'll see that. And this is very rare, you don't see this a lot, but she moved straight up the numeric scale, 7, 8, 9, and then we started again 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was like I am closing up a chapter, because 9 is our completion, and I'm beginning something new, and then I'm leaving off in this place of order and this place of balance and learning and teaching. So there was definitely, like, I feel like there was a very concrete reason why she was like, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to do this. And then it was some sort of like very concrete lesson of what she learned too. So I talked about here, it says that it begins with a curious number of 7 and then ends with the teaching energy of 4. Between that, we see the numbers move up into the energy of completion, restarts, and then builds back up again. And then within this time period, you also see the number 10, which is considered to be perfection. So that tells me that you're going to like learn a lot during this trip. The ups were high, but the lows may have been just as low. So I do see, when you see that total upswing, there's means I might have had a great time and things were wonderful, but then I also may have had some stress and strain as well. And then
it's interesting. I'm sorry. It's interesting you say that, because I'm trying to understand what that journey looked like for her over the course of those days, because, a couple things, when you're doing genealogy research, you can't just look at the people, you got to understand the time that they lived in as well. And I was so curious, in 45, we're talking, right? Like Jim Crow and everything else that comes with that, like, leading up to that. But it wasn't a time that there was a lot of migration of Panamanians to America. This was my grandmother kind of predated that travel. There wasn't a lot of travel until the 50s and 60s of Panamanians to America. So she really was kind of independent in the thought. But one thing that really struck me was, what did that travel look like as a Black woman with a white Navy sailor during times of segregation? Was there space on the boat for her? Where, I just wonder what that was like. How was she treated? Did this person protect her? And she couldn't have been, hidden on the boat, but we don't know her password. So I've always been curious about, what does that time look like on the boat during the time where the Navy, I think, was also segregated. I don't think it was until the year after, or maybe 2 years after that, the Navy integrated. So so I'm thinking, maybe some of the highs and lows might have been related to the actual experience there, and whatever questioning, was there some, am I doing the right thing, or so.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
I definitely think that. And what's interesting too is I did talk about here how it says, that she was probably seeking to learn more about herself in the world, which makes sense of why she traveled so young. And then talking about how she thought there must have been some sort of business opportunity for her to go at a young age. And I talked about the karmic debt. So when I was doing this, and I said, I get the feeling that she had some hardships upon arriving, but those hardships were likely led to some pretty good lessons. So that's crazy. I didn't know that she was in a boat. I didn't know any of those things. I think that whatever it was, whether it was poverty or whatever it was that she felt like I'm looking at my clock, I'm seeing 2:22. Okay, so it was poverty that she was escaping. It was more valuable for her to endure that, because she seems, from just running her numbers, also with the Aries energy, like a very strong minded person, like
You know.
right, yeah, because you all are both Aries. Yeah, so it's like, I made up my mind. I'm going to do this thing. It's important for me. It's going to personal development. I want to learn more about myself. It's also a really great opportunity for me. And I already know that. And I do feel like, and maybe this karmic debt that I'm seeing is about what her experience in life may have been, especially, did she marry this man?
No, no.
Okay.
He was married, she helped with the kids, and we're still not sure how she ended up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but that's not where they lived. But we know she settled down with my grandfather in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
How soon after?
You know, my aunt would know better, but I don't know. That's a part of the story that I don't think we're all clear on. Is it was in Pennsylvania. I actually found the family, and I've been going
Wow.
back and forth on if I'm going to reach out to the children to see if they remember my grandmother or anything else that might help me piece some things together from her trip from Panama. But they were from Spartansburg, PA, and then somehow she found her way to Pittsburgh. But I don't know. I don't know how long that was.
I would be curious as to if there was any sort of romantic relationship between the two of them. Um, I would be curious because there's something that I'm feeling intuitively about her being very beautiful. Um, and like the get up and go that you have to be 20 to say, yes, I'm gonna do this, I think it's incredibly admirable. And I'm trying to figure out why a white man would risk bringing her so far if he only there's people who could have kept the kids that lived in Panama. I mean, that lived in Philadelphia or where they were from, right?
Right.
So I'd be curious about that. But I'm sure that if that was the case, you're probably not gonna be to find anything about it because it would have been so incredibly taboo.
Right.
Um
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny like to hear this because we have no clue how she met this man. Right. Next thing all we know is that she was on a boat coming over here, literally, and we don't know. We don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Mhm.
And what about her? So her sister is still living. So her sister still
Oh
Earth sign.
no, it was my aunt, so not great aunt, but yeah, my aunt. So her daughter, her firstborn.
Ah,
Yes.
so what also could be cool is to see if you all can find, I mean, but she's in your same generation, right? So she may not have access any more than you do, but what the environment of Panama was back then.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I'm hoping to explore when I go is to try to figure out what did it look like in Panama around that time. I remember my aunt telling me that when she first got here, she would call back home to Panama to cousins that she called Masita and Pasita, but we
Mhm.
don't know their real names, right? So I mean, we may have family there that we don't know, but we
Yeah,
don't know their real names. And eventually, I think maybe over time they either lost touch or maybe they passed away. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I don't know what the conditions were like over there. But I know she had people.
yeah,
Yeah, she had
yeah,
people.
people. Yeah, I'd be curious as to what that like. I mean, not that I mean, it still makes sense that she would want to come to America, especially if she's going to come to America for a job. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And something like caring for children is something that you can do, especially back then. You can do it for 20 years because the kids have to grow up, right? So
Yeah.
this is definitely security for her in a very real way. And from what I read about her, that would have been important to her, especially during that particular time in her life.
And I'm so
Um,
excited. I text my aunt to see if she knows when she might have stopped working for the family.
Yeah, yeah, because what would be interesting to see is when she stopped, because I would love to see what the pinnacle was during that time.
Mhm.
And to see if it was around the time of a change of pinnacle, like a change in a season of her life when she may have met your grandfather and moved on. Or also if it happened earlier, it would be interesting to see if she felt like, okay, this is a better opportunity for me,
Mhm.
or this person is going to offer me something, like if she wanted a family, right? So, you can't have a family if you're kind of staying here and taking care of this family, right? So it would be very interesting to see. I did the karmic debt thing did come up with the self-esteem and worthiness, and that may have been a result of being a woman of color in an environment that was probably largely white, also being younger in those spaces, and also feeling like, a bit of an outsider because she would have been in many ways alone. Right. And so go ahead. I see you getting ready to say
I
something.
know, because when I saw some self-esteem, so what started this journey for me, specifically starting with my grandmother, um, is that I know that my grandmother had some type of mommy wounds, right? Because she didn't know
Mm,
her mother. We know that she was born in Jamaica. She was orphaned of some type. We don't know why. There's some story, some folklore of, her mother either walked away from her or, something. But the police picked her up as a toddler and took her to her grandmother's. And that resonates so deeply with me because my mother was very absent in my life growing up. My father raised me, my grandmother's son. And so when I see that, I've always wondered, how does that feel to not really know who your family was? Who took her to Panama? Like, all of this is so broken for us.
oh, man. Okay.
Right. So hopefully that kind of helps. But yeah, so my grandmother wouldn't have known her mother or her father. We believe she was raised by her grandmother, is what she understood. But we don't know who she was with or who took her to Panama. We don't know that. Or if it was her grandmother or, yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense, right? Because when you look at this first pinnacle, it talks about how you're a very practical thinker at a young age. And it also says this challenge number 0 might make you into like an unmannerly child. So there could have been some anger and some frustration there. And then now having to figure out how to do things on your own and figure out how to figure it out, which is another reason why leaving so young may not have been such a difficult thing for her, because she didn't feel as connected to the space. And I think I wrote that. I said something about she may have always been chasing something higher. I am curious as I'm curious. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm curious as to if it was these feelings along with her desire to better, so to let her to leave the States. Like, there was something about me when I was doing this that made me feel like she did not feel like she belonged there. Like she did not feel connected, in some ways. So it was easy for her to pick up and go. So I wrote that some sort of impulse or betterment and achievement. And so that's what I got from her. So I got this introspection energy, this I need to know more about myself energy. There's going to be an opportunity here that's better. I don't really fit into this place. And I get to America and, balanced teaching order, which is crazy that she ended up being in childcare, which is exactly what, childcare providers are. They're teachers. Now, when I look at your stuff, you see the first thing that I saw is your dates start off with creation, joy, and expression, and they end with completion. And so what's really cool here is the first thing I heard was choice. I felt like your grandmother had this impulse to leave, like it was something that she needed to do. And I feel like this is something that you're choosing to do, and something that you're doing out of joy, and something you're doing out of curiosity versus doing it out of what felt like necessity when I was reading your grandmother's energy. And as you can also see throughout this process, you move from this choice and creation to completion. So it makes me feel like there's something that you're going to get on this trip that you have been looking for, that you need, and that's going to make you feel more full, right? And make you feel more connected. So I talk about here, your grandmother's numbers go up and down, but yours is a steady climb. You go straight up. And I wrote that it seems like you're doing a choice, curiosity, and not necessity. I said, I feel like you're searching for something, a connection, some sort of inner knowledge of yourself and your family. Seeing this 9 at the end leaves me hopeful that you will get what you're going for. So
I'm like trying not to cry, like tissue. Oh my gosh. And it's funny too, because I'm looking at like the energy of the trip, and yeah, on the 17th, when I see like mastery, building, processing, building, teaching, order, balance, that's the day I hope to be at the National Archives, like, no, that's like when I have like my days in my mind, freedom and change, that's the day I plan to go to her the last known city or address that she was at on her immigration papers. And also know the port that she sailed out of. So I plan to visit that between that 18th and 19th. Yeah. And then I might go to another part of Panama for some of the weekends. So this is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's really, when I did it, I thought, I was like, gosh, this is really beautiful, because it also kind of gave me a little bit of the ways times have changed. So, 50 years ago or 60 years ago, yeah, about 60 years ago, right? 60? Well, no, almost 70 years ago, when someone would travel, as a woman of color, it wasn't about like choice and convenience and fun.
Right.
It wasn't about that. So the ability of you as her granddaughter to be able to make a choice to go reconnect with your family and figure things out, and do this as something that you want to do, and something that you're excited about doing, and from a place of, I'm doing this for fun and not because I have to go for an opportunity or I have to go to take care of my family. I thought that was really, really beautiful.
Wow.
I thought that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I told my wife, I said, look, babe, I'm like, this is so freaking cool. And so no, it is. And I really feel like you're going to get something out of it. Like, I think you're going to learn something about yourself, learn a little bit more about your grandmother. The only thing that I am feeling intuitively is that I do think that some of the things you learn are going to be hurtful to you. Not because I think seeing what she may have experienced, I think is going to be difficult for you to kind of synthesize, because this is someone who is your grandmother, and you don't want to be hurt. But I do think, though, it's a really awesome opportunity for you to just see kind of where you came from.
Right.
What type of stock are you from? I did notice that you and your grandmother do share the same zodiac sign. So you got this fire, and you come through with this 4 energy. So this 4 energy is very much like, okay, let's get things in order. Let's figure out how, things are supposed to manage. And it's also 4 is our directional number: east, west, north, and south. So the fact that you're even putting together all of this stuff is, like, it's kind of cool, because like you would be the person in the family to do that. I did look at your pinnacles and challenges as well. I think when I did your first reading, I only did your pinnacles. I didn't do your challenges. And it says right now you got a one pinnacle, which is like, I'm trying to figure out who I am and increase my leadership. And so even after speaking to you about what you're planning for your retreat and some of these workshops, I see you being very diligent. And it almost, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but it just, the energy and the aggression of like kicking this up was very like, I'm doing this now.
Yep. No,
You know
you're
what I mean?
No, you're right. Yeah, it's like a whole shift, especially this year. It's just a shift and a lot of like execution and how we're going to move forward and be deliberate and intentional. I can't wait to talk to you about next year's date, because we'll email about that. But yes, I agree. Oh,
It's very, very good. Now, I did see a 2 challenge here, and this 2 challenge is talking about this may be a time of emotional for you. And there may be some approval seeking here. And that may be coming from the fact that you are like, I'm going this direction and I'm so clear about it. And people may not be like on board, and that may be like, oh, dang, be happy for me. Also, because that 4 energy is not that emotional. 4 is kind of emotional, but not really. So that may be why it feels like challenging for you. But something is telling me to lean into this, because I feel like the emotion of this time and the emotion of this pinnacle for you of the next couple of years for you is actually going to really help. It's going to help give even more foundation to what you're trying to build.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
A lot of
in a way that needs to happen, right? Because
in a way that needs to happen, because a lot of people aren't this intentional about things. Like, even when you sent me these dates, I was like, wow, I would never think to put something like this together. And I think that intentionality and the vulnerability of what it's like not to know, like, how does it manifest in your family generationally when women don't know their moms, and what does that do, or don't have good like what does that look like over time? You have a grandmother who is moving around searching for herself and decides that she has to leave the country, and then two generations later we have a granddaughter who's still searching for who she is and trying to find her bearing.
Right.
Right.
Right. Like for real.
Right. But you get
Yes.
to put those stakes down for your daughter. Right. So you get to put those stakes down for your daughter, so you get a chance to, build something and figure some things out so that your daughter doesn't have that. Right. And that's the four energy. That's that organization energy. Like, so it's like grandma, I'm go crazy. I'm like, I wonder what your mom's number is. But grandmother was like introspection. Let me find out about me. And I see you coming in now with the four energy saying, okay, let me try to synthesize and put this together for us. Does that make sense?
Oh, hold up. I got to pause on that one. Oh, when I hear you say that, it's so interesting you say for us, because in so many ways, spiritually, I feel her with me. Like this is a journey truly for us. And maybe, there's some things that has to be explored. And you mentioned before, may not like everything I find, or there could be some hurtful pieces. And I think that I'm sitting with that too, right? Like maybe there's a reason why I can't find a lot of information about my grandmother's birth or who her parents are. And maybe that wasn't a pretty story for them, right? Like not everybody's story is going to come out like, we're reunited, and, but because we all have some darkness to our past and to our presence too. But so I do feel like this is a journey that is for both of us in a lot of ways. And you mentioned my daughter. You see a lot, right? Like marketing takes over and people connect with all these buzzwords. But for me, this is generational cycle breaking.
Yep.
Right. And trying to figure out what those deeper hurts are, what that looked like, coming out and manifesting through parenting, and how to break that so that my daughter can be a little bit healthier and break a different cycle, for our continued lineage. So yeah, this is also very meaningful for me.
Yeah, I feel really, really good about this for you. I just think, and also you're doing all this visiting, but I do want to, and I know you'll do this, but I do want to make sure that when you're there, you spend some time to just write, be in the space, be quiet. I did write down some questions for you, like why do you want to do what you want to do? What does it mean to you? What do you think it will mean to others? And what are your ideas of success and failure? And that success and failure is coming up for me because of the four. And it's like four energy can sometimes be very black and white when it comes to certain things. But I think that what you're doing is so valuable. And I think so many women are going to be inspired by it. Just as finding out. And even if you were able to find out information about your grandmother, the idea that you're wanting to go back to the place where, you kind of came from in some ways, and the idea that you're purposely trying to reconnect with these women in your lineage, your ancestors, right? These are ancestors. These are who we calling on ancestors. Who we talking about? We talking about grandma, great grandma, who we talking about, right?
Did you read my blog? I didn't post yet.
I did.
Because that's literally the blog that will come with this. It's like, who are our ancestors, though?
Right.
We understand the diaspora at large, but like, who is our direct lineage, and like, what is that where do we come from? Where's that? Yeah, you must have read that. It's not published yet. But.
No, let me tell you something. I had such a good time with this, and just seeing how it's a puzzle. And I do blind reads. I think I tell you that. So I do the report, I run the numbers, and I do my explanation, all that stuff, and I leave it. I don't do the reading until I'm actually with the person. So, this took some time though. Like it took a lot of time because I did so many numbers for your grandmother, and I had to run your numbers again and make sure that the pinnacles and challenge. I didn't do your challenges before. But it was really fun just to see just the change and the evolution, just even between the two of you all. And I'm curious about your mom. When's your mom's birthday? Remember?
I do. Let me write it down because I'm a visual person. So I know it's January 22nd. Oh, my dad was born in 59. I never know if she's older or younger than him. I'll text him and ask him.
Okay.
'Cause now I want to know.
Yeah, I wonder where your mom
It's either
at.
60 or 58.
I don't know. Something's telling me like either she's gonna be a 3 or like a 5.
Yeah, it's 122, and it's either my dad's born in 59. I have a feeling that she was born in 60. Yeah.
2022.
Yeah, January 22nd.
It's either 1960 or 1959.
Yeah. I text her too. We'll see if she responds. It's just like, what is going on? Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be 59 or 60.
Mm,
I would be curious myself because yeah. Hmm.
I think we'll see. I mean, I just did them both, so we'll see which one it is. It'll be
Okay.
interesting which one comes back. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good trip.
Mhm.
I think you're gonna learn a lot. I think that you're going to feel that connection that you're looking to feel. Did I do any more after this? Or did I finish? I think that's all I did. Yeah. I think you're gonna learn a lot. I think you're gonna feel a certain level of connection, and I also think it's okay to when you get for you to speak, with her. Hey, what do you want me to see
Mhm.
out here? What do you want to show me out here? Are your kids? Is your daughter going with you? Or are you going by yourself?
No, yeah, it'll just be me. It's my second international solo trip. Yeah,
Oh, Shannon.
yeah, this is a solo trip. So when you talk about talking, yeah, we gonna talk, we're gonna cry, right? We're gonna
Yeah.
celebrate and dance. Yeah. Mm.
I really love this. I'm like so excited. Like I'm going like I'm super excited for you. Um I think it's gonna be good. And I think that whatever you're looking for, like I said, I think that you're gonna get it. I I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
I did too. It's just, and to travel, okay, my dad said 1960.
Yeah, 3.
To travel on these particular dates wasn't honestly something I had thought of. You got to be aligned, and the universe will send
Yeah.
you what you need. There's a gentleman who I've been following for years. I've been on his email list. I don't even think he's on social media. He just has an email list, and he does a lot of heritage tours.
Hmm.
And he usually only goes to African countries. And lo and behold, in April, when this started for me, it said Panama. He's going in May and in August. And I was like, oh, I should go. And at that time, I was trying to figure out, should I go May or August? And around the same time, I found her immigration paper that said the dates. And,
Ah,
and his travel dates are August 13th through 21st.
okay.
And I said, it just aligns,
Right. Yeah,
the
yeah,
universe
yeah.
is literally aligning my journey through this whole thing. Now I chose to just go on the 16th through the 22nd, for trying to find Riley care and all of that.
Hmm.
But and I may end up, when one of your dates said family connection, I may meet up with them for that part of the trip on that last 2 days of the trip, meet up with him in the tour. And so I wonder what that's going to look like. I still have to make that decision, but yeah, so there's that, and everything has literally been aligned for,
Going to happen.
yeah, for this
I
whole
want to show
trip.
you something real quick.
All right.
Real quick. So your mom is a 3, which is what I
Okay.
thought.
Mm,
And this may be purely coincidence, but you see, here's 3 right here, and then 4, which is you,
mm, mm.
right? Isn't that crazy? So this is the second to last day, and then there's the last day where you get that energy of 3 and number 4. And I think that your mom is a 33 too. Like is
Wait,
she?
are these my grandmother's dates of
Yeah,
travel? Okay. Wow.
yeah, that's your grandmother's days.
Hmm.
Yep. And so it's interesting too. And 3 is a not to go into a bunch of mom, but three is really all about, 3 is a fun turn up number. So I don't know why she wasn't around,
She
but
did that.
like,
She turned up. That's what she did.
three like to have a good time. Three like to have.
Yeah, right. Well, that's
So,
what Bonnie did. She surely turned up.
so
Oh, that's really
it's
cool.
very interesting to see that second to last is your mom's number, and then last one is yours, which is where we are now. We're on
Yeah.
yours.
Man, I appreciate you so much because the intention and detail and care and the joy that you share with me when we do these, but this particular one, I really appreciate you because I'm gonna do, because I think every time you and I did some type of numerology report, I did a staycation somewhere in somebody's hotel and I just sat with it. And
What?
I always love, I don't know if I told you that. Yeah, I usually take them and I do a staycation. Hopefully what will come from that process I've been doing for the past couple of years, or I would like to curate the solo retreats for women to go out on their own and give them some things, tools to do when they get there. Because that's what I do, right? Like that's what this is for. So when I get there, I'll be able to sit with this. You always give me some amazing things to think about and write about. So this is very much a part of that for me. And
Thank you. It is my pleasure. This is my favorite thing to do.
Yes.
Beyond, I mean, I love to write. I love my writing, but this is my favorite discipline to practice. I love it. I just did a compatibility report for somebody. I spent 5 hours doing it. Like, I love it.
I saw that email. Don't
Yeah.
get that one from me too. Like, let's
I've
just
never
set them
done
up.
it
Just
before.
invoice me.
Yeah.
Let me just open a tab.
Listen, really, but I have so much fun because it gives you so much insight. And it's like, you're going through the world and you don't understand why things are shaping up the way they are, or you're so, and you look at certain things and you're like, oh, okay. And I don't think, it's not a fail safe. Like, it's there, there's some things that aren't there, but there's definitely clues and information in this stuff, and even when I read for myself, which I don't do a lot because I don't like the predictive quality of it for me. Like, for me, I'm like, don't tell me that yet, because I might be over. Don't tell me.
I'll be thinking about it all day.
Right. I'll be thinking about it all day. So, but I just really have a lot of fun, and I love that it lights people up. I love that it makes them happy. It makes them feel more grounded, and it just makes me so. I love it. So, I'm always available. When I'm available, but I'm always available to do it because it's fun for me, and I learn too. I pull out my books and all my stuff, and I'm like studying, and so it gives me something to do with my mind and all that. So I'm always delighted when I am asked, especially by you, because you always give me something new that I haven't done before. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try this, So yeah, you are definitely one of my favorites. So I appreciate
Well, thank you. And I meant what I said. You'll be getting an email soon about the 2023 retreat dates. And I think you're really going to have fun with the one that we're going to do, kind of centered around femininity, pleasure, and it's going to be dope. Even the island, like when you say intentionality, you're going to love the details of how I'm putting this one together.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited about it. And I'll start working on those reports probably in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. I know you got, you'll deliver. Well, I'm excited. I'll see you again on August 27th for the Numerology 101. And then our retreat participants will be able to participate. What are we going to do? Are we going to do the retreat dates for that one? Or you're just going to do numerology, just numerology.
Now,
okay, perfect.
The retreat dates is actually a good example. That'll be a good case study. So yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. Yes. And I'll make sure I think you sent me the retreat because we were looking at 3 dates. So I'll make sure you know exactly those dates. I hook you up. I appreciate you so much. And I'll just shoot you a quick email when I come back to let you know how the trip went.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm sending this report to you right now.
All right, perfect. Have a beautiful day. And tell your wife I said hello. And tell her I feel connected to her. I haven't got to meet her, but I feel connected to her. Because we just exchanged some pleasantries. Yep. So tell her I said, hey.
All right, sis. Take care of yourself.
All righty. Bye-bye.